Hey, everybody, welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kirby, and of course, we talk with people who are going to help our small and medium-sized nonprofits do good better. Sometimes, actually, most of the time, the people who are going to help us do good better are actually leaders of small and medium-sized nonprofits, and that's what we have today. Mary Ellen, we've got Andrea, who are founding board members of Landon's Light with us today. It's a fascinating story. It's amazing. You're going to love it. Welcome to the official Do Good Better podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning.
I'm very excited to chat with you today. Like we were talking in the pre-interview, we've run in the same circles, and only today have we had the pleasure of officially meeting via the interwebs. I'm excited. And as people are probably scrolling through iTunes and Spotify and YouTube, and they're finding Landon's Light, this is very interesting, but they might not know all the super deets. So as a 5,000-foot level, who are you, what you do, and why are we talking today?
Sure. So this all came to be from the story of Landon, our oldest son that was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor at the age of 10. Just a beautiful, healthy boy doing 10-year-old things with his friends and sports, and went in to the ICU for 10 days thinking that, man, we're just dealing with some migraines. And 10 days later, we had a terminal brain tumor diagnosis and a 1 to 2 year life expectancy. And so to watch your child walk through that for a year and 9 months is how long he battled, and to watch him walk through that with such strength and faith and really no anger in God's plan for him. It was life-changing. And towards the end of his journey, we started to have conversations with him about, buddy, whether we get the miracle that we're praying for or whether things go the way the doctors anticipated, what do we want to do with your legacy? And he wanted to help critically ill children that were going through similar situations as he was, because we got so much support from friends and family in the community, and we're given so many opportunities during his journey. And now those are the memories that we hold so dear to our hearts. So that's exactly what we're doing with Landon's Light. And so we always say Landon really built Landon's Light, and we just truly have the honor of carrying out his vision.
It's incredible that it's been incredible to watch, not only his journey and your whole journey, but it's incredible to watch as a dad of somebody who's exactly the same age, or my kid is exactly the same age that Landon was when he found out of his illness. And so, Miriam, maybe you can kind of expand on this. What does Landon's Light as a foundation and as an entity do?
Sure. So our mission really is twofold. First and foremost, to help critically ill children provide hope and joy during their journey that is so often challenging and just heart-wrenching for them and their families. And so we do that through multiple programming and events, but then we also, as a secondary piece to our mission, we also want to inspire all children, otherwise healthy children in our community, to grow in their faith, their academics, and their physical well-being. All three of those were so important to what made Landon special. So we wanted to include those with the mission, kind of fully encompass who Landon was. His cancer journey was very public, of course, and he was able to bring our community together in ways that we really hadn't seen before. I mean, this 10-year-old boy is inspiring our entire community to rally behind the Solberg family during that journey. And now through the foundation, we've just had wonderful support. And so it's just been incredible to see what Landon started and now what we're doing with his legacy to carry that out.
Andrea, I think one of the coolest things about that is the actual reach in which your foundation and the story has happened, which is just incredible. And for those who don't know much about Landon's Light, for those of you kind of outside of the Fargo-Moorhead area, can you talk about it's global, but the reach in which you were most shocked or just confused on how it got to somebody in a place where you're like, how on earth did you hear about this moment?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was a lot of different opportunities during Landon's journey where we had people reaching out from Florida and Arizona. And I often think about anytime we travel, we always wear our Landon's Light gear because we just feel like we're taking a part of him with us when we go on new vacations and making new memories. And so my friend was down in Arizona and she was walking through the airport with her Landon's Light shirt on, and all of a sudden this guy passed her and he said, cool shirt, cool story. And that's all he said. And he just kept on walking. And so it's stories like that it's like, wow, his light is shining so much brighter than just throughout our state. But yeah, those stories are just near and dear to our hearts. And
Mary, yeah, it's incredible to walk away, or you're anywhere. And I mean anywhere. It is like Florida, Arizona. It's wherever you travel. There's always a random Landon's Light T-shirt, and you're like, it's just kind of one of those cool things. Mary Ellen, one of the things that I think we can all agree upon is running a nonprofit is very hard because nobody teaches us how to do it, and it's kind of stupid sometimes. You're like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Is there a particular story of impact, maybe not even from Landon himself, but a particularly story of impact of what your foundation has done? That's one of those things that you remember during the hard part about running a nonprofit, that you go, this is why we do what we do. This is exactly why I'm going to tell myself this story over and over again in order to get us through this budget process or this board meeting. What would be one of those?
Oh, that is a hard question because we've had such success, and I would just want to give you a little background first. But when we started talking about the foundation, we thought, if we could help 12 kids a year in Landon's honor, how great would that be? I mean, it'd be wonderful, one a month. Fast forward over 2 years, we've helped 150 plus critically ill kids. So there's a lot of stories in there that of impact and just beautiful connections. But recently we helped a little boy named Blake. He's 9 and he's going through a pretty tough medical journey. And we met him back in September. And so it's been a long-term relationship that we've built. And for those of you that don't know, Sam Griesel, a men's NDSU basketball player, interned with us this last summer. So he met Blake and they formed this beautiful friendship. It's been wonderful to see that unfold as well. And so Blake was referred to us for a Miracle Moment program, which is one of our programs that we call a pillar program to serve critically ill children. And initially his mom thought, let's send him to the Mall of America, do all the fun kids stuff there. How great would that be? Well, fast forward a few months after meeting Sam and developing that relationship, she said, what if we send Blake and we do the Summit League tournament? And it took us about 30 seconds to say, of course, let's do that. That's awesome. What a great idea. And I think that just shows the impact that we make. We don't just come in and just do a give and then walk away. We come in, we build that relationship with the children, their siblings, their parents. And it's also just wonderful for these parents to see Andrea and Travis standing up after they've gone through this incredibly challenging and sad journey. And grief is lifelong, so they continue to deal with that on a daily basis. But here they are standing in front of these families going through similar journeys and saying, you know what, even in the most horrible situation, you can find joy and spread light and love to others. And so I think Blake is one of our most recent miracle moments. So that's a great story of impact. But every time we walk away from a miracle moment or a give, or we meet a family or an event, we're just filled with so much joy and light, and we can tell Landon is there. So that keeps us going, because it is a lot of work. You're right. We've put a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of time into this, with hundreds of volunteers behind us as well.
Yeah, and I think acknowledging that it's super challenging, but also having those stories in the background is what makes this super fun. But Andrea, one of the things that I think when you read about a nonprofit that is that's so out there and doing so much good work, everybody kind of thinks it's super easy and no work and no challenges have befallen you and an organization. What has been the largest challenge that you have faced while sort of founding this foundation, and how did you overcome that?
I would say probably one of the biggest challenges, which is really a good thing in the grand scheme of things, is that our growth has been so quick. So that first year, the three of us really were it was all volunteer based. So there was a lot of weekends, a lot of late nights, trying to make decisions and just keep pace with the growth that we were experiencing, which again is a good thing to have. And so a year in, we finally realized that we're dreaming big and we're not slowing down. So that's when Mary Ellen graciously came in as our executive director, and She has taken that role to the next level, and our growth has continued, but she's only one person too. So that is probably been one of our biggest challenges. And I think what makes us so unique and special is that we have a story. You know, this is, and a lot of people connect with that story, and the children and the families that we are helping, they are going through similar battles and they connect with our story. So that is very authentic and not anything that we have to create or make up. And I think that is really attributed to the growth that we've experienced too.
Mary Ellen, one of the things that I appreciate you stepping into this role is that as a lot of nonprofit executive directors, there's no degree. There's no like executive director of a small nonprofit degree you get at the local university. That's not existent. And I think people would appreciate a tip or a trick that you have learned very quickly that someone else can take and apply at their own nonprofit if they get lucky enough to find themselves in the situation that you do, which is heading up a really interesting and wonderful organization that makes a lot of impact. But there's a lot of question marks on that board. What's something that you can help with, sort of maybe iron out a few wrinkles in their nonprofit journey?
Sure. So for me, the Solberg family and my family, we've been friends for 18 or 19 years at this point. And so we love Landon like he was our own. So it felt really comfortable and right for me to do this as a full-time job. And I think one is be passionate, just jump in with both feet and just give it your all, because if you're feeling that passionate, you just need to follow your heart and then work hard. You have to work hard. You have to put the work in. But I also think that you should allow yourself and give yourself some grace, because as you grow, things change, circumstances change. So my thing that I always say is, let's do the best we can with what we have at the time, because that's going to change as you grow and you get bigger. So when you first start, and you're all volunteer basis, so you're doing the best you can at that point. And then now we have a full-time person and myself. So it's like, okay, now I have a full-time status to give my all during that time frame. But again, I'm just one person, and we've helped over 150 kids. So, you know, Travis and Andrea, they have full-time jobs, and, you know, they're board members as well. And so they're giving their all during the day and then helping nights and weekends. And I think it's just do the best you can with what you have, but give it your all. Jump in both feet. Don't look back. Just keep moving forward. And then let the work you're doing fuel you. Continue to fuel that process, because every person in nonprofit is doing something good for someone else. So trust your gut and go with that.
If I may give you a little bit of praise, you sound like a 10-year vet with the self-awareness of giving yourself grace. And not a lot of us in the nonprofit world know how to do that, because we take everything so personally. Those no's become personal. And with 18, 19 years of friendship behind you, there is a dang you for saying no moment. I'm sure you do that, but I love the passionate about that. And I know that people who are listening, and know people who know about you or want to learn more, are probably trying to figure out how they can give you a boatload of money, but they don't know how. Andrea, how on earth do people get a hold of you? How on earth do people give you money, and how can they help you make impact here in the community?
That's a question for Mary Ellen. She knows that's her cue.
Mary Ellen Andrea is always like, you do the money talk, Mary Ellen.
I like it.
Which I can do. First and foremost, we can't do what we do without our donors. So they are so important to us, and we are so grateful. We've had such wonderful community support so far in just our short period of time. And so we're grateful for that. We have a website, landonslight.org. You can support us through that. So donations are always welcome. We also can't do what we do without our volunteer basis. So we have an incredible number of volunteers that help us really execute every event, every program. My husband is our volunteer graphic designer. Our good friend Eric is our volunteer website guy. So it's like the masses are really behind Landon's Light, helping us get there. So we have a volunteer application online. We'd love to increase that volunteer basis as well. Follow us on social media. We're very active on Facebook and Instagram. And so we have, I have Kaya, who helps me with Instagram now, because she's way better than I was ever at Instagram. So I do Facebook, she does Instagram. So it really is just this wonderful group of people helping us continue to succeed. And I think they've seen the work we're doing. They've seen the good we're doing in the community. And they want to be a part of it. So once you become part of Landon's Light team, you stick around for a long time.
I think that's good. And I think when you are done listening to the show, everybody, we're going to put everything in the show notes as well. So we'll link out to the website, and we'll link out to the social page, and link out to the volunteer form. So go and click there. And while you're clicking, by the way, you got through this on iTunes, go click and like and share and sign up for this as a podcast. A 5-star rating wouldn't hurt. This is 5-star rating guests. So go ahead and do that. And then immediately come back to the show notes and click and donate as much as you possibly can to Landon's Light. Andrea, Marilyn, thank you so much for being a guest here. Thanks so much for sharing your story. Thanks so much for the impact that you've made. Thanks so much for getting to share Landon with all of us. I think that's super important to remember too, that this is sharing his story as well at the same time as you're trying to make impact here in the community. But most importantly, thank you so much for being a guest on the official Do Good Better podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. It's always the best part of my day when I can share about Landon and what we're doing in his honor. So thank you.
Absolutely. And heck yes. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.